In this episode of the Get Buckets podcast, James and Paul get into Defensive Player of the Year, some of the surprise playoff Game 1 wins, the battle of Durant versus Kawhi, Draymond stomping, injuries, playoff predictions, and of course, some NBA conspiracies. You don't want to miss it. Let's get it. I get buckets. Hello, we are back once again with another episode of the Get Buckets podcast. We are towards the start of the postseason, Paul.
That's true, James. Win the first round.
Yes. Well,
Exciting stuff.
Some of us are. The New York Knicks are. Hi-yo!
Shots fired straight away. Intro shots fired.
Start as you mean to go on.
Ooh, shots fired! Shots fired!
Yeah, we got some shots fired because Paul supports two teams. And where are they again?
Both did very well.
How well?
They did so well. They tried so hard.
That they deserve a rest.
Yeah, they deserve
therefore
a rest.
Not in the postseason. And we will talk in detail about one of those later when we get to the news section. But here we are again, Paul. It's been a hot minute since we spoke.
Been a couple of weeks. Been
that long?
It's been long, yeah.
Time flies.
Yeah.
Time flies. Before we make a start, in true Get Buckets tradition, I have a new drink for
I'm
you
thirsty,
today.
James.
You
thirsty?
feeling parched? I got us the weirdest thing I could find at my local co-op.
Uh-oh.
And I found a 4-pack of Purdy's Natural Energy Rejuvenate.
Ooh.
Grape and apple with ginseng.
Ooh.
There you go, Paul. Have a can.
Wow, wait. Caffeine free? Where's the energy coming from?
It's concerning,
What?
isn't it? It's concerning.
Those Bevits. Sparkling.
For our listeners to join along, you ready?
Thrill in life. Oh, thrive, sorry. Thrive in life.
Thrill in life. And also thrive.
Thrive in life with this energy drink.
It smells odd.
I'm going to pour it into my cup.
I'm going to pour it into my branded cup.
Oh, yeah.
Instagram fans, check us out. We'll be broadcasting our merch. It's very, very exclusive, as in only we have it.
But if you want one, send
Reach out.
me a message.
Yeah, slide into our DMs. Here's to you, Paul.
Yes, here's to you, James. That's all right.
Bit weird, but I'll take
That's
it.
all right.
Okay, Paul. Shall we get right into it?
Let's do some news, James.
Did you hear the news?
Politics?
No, the basketball news.
Basketball news.
You know what that sound means, Paul? It's basketball news. What news have you got for our view listeners?
Well, did you hear? It might have been today that came out. Jaron Jackson Jr. The Kia. I like how it's a branded.
Yeah, got to brand it.
It's the Kia.
Kia themselves have put the stats together. Dave Kia, he did the votes.
He wins a nice new Kia. NBA players like, I don't want a Kia.
don't want
I've got a
this.
Ferrari.
Give it to someone
I don't want a Kia. Oh, where's your Kia Ceed, whatever they got? Defensive Player of the Year, James.
Yeah,
Jaron
congratulations to him.
Of the Grizz.
Yes, I mean, I haven't watched many Grizzlies games, so I can't comment too much. I've only really seen highlights, but he does look like he's been a monster. So
Yeah,
fair play to
three
him.
blocks a game.
Yes,
It's only 23.
That's a lot of blocks.
It's only 23, James.
That's impressive.
But only averages 6.8 rebounds.
And to be fair to him,
Yeah.
he is in that team, and I don't know him well enough to really hate him, so he must be doing all right.
Yeah, that's a
Within
high
that team,
bar.
that is a high bar, absolutely. So congratulations to Jaron Jackson Jr. I don't know if he goes by a nickname, but I'm going to call him Triple J.
Triple J. Brooke Lopez was second.
Yes, and I was quietly hopeful he would get it.
Me too, actually.
I like
Yeah,
Brooke.
yeah. And those two were top guys, and then Evan Mobley came a distant third, but still a third.
Evan Mobley.
Yeah.
He's some nobody, said the Knicks in the first game.
Evan
Knicks. Nobody.
Speaking of the Knicks,
What about him?
how about them Knicks?
How about them Knicks? How about them Knicks?
Not again,
the
James.
button's coming.
3 times in a row.
Hey, just appreciate that I'm playing the short one. I do have the full song.
Do you have a sad Knicks song when they get knocked out?
No such thing. There is only joy in the New York Knicks right now. How about them Knicks, though? They're doing great. I watched game 1. They won it despite not playing that well, mostly. Off the bench, I think, what was it? RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly, and there was a third player that between them got about 6 points. That normally they go off. So essentially that win was off the back of hustle, Julius Randle in the first half, Jalen Brunson at the end, and in the middle, Josh Hart.
Josh Hart.
Yeah.
17 points, Josh Hart.
17
10
and
rebounds.
17 and 10, Josh Hart. Although he twisted his ankle.
I heard about that.
He twisted his ankle, and about a minute later, got a lead clinching 3. It's like, Josh Hart, I love you so much.
Yeah, good player.
Yeah.
Not playing Evan Fournier, though.
No, he hasn't
What's
played.
going on there?
He hasn't played in months.
He's just star player. What the fuck?
Yeah, he hasn't played in a very, very, very long time. At this point.
Randall came back from injury, though, right? He's.
Yeah, he had a rest after an injury, and a lot of people wondered how would he come back. He came back absolutely killing it. I mean, in that game, they were ahead by 10 for a lot of it. The Cavs didn't have a lead from the first quarter till the fourth quarter at one point, and I thought, oh no, we've blown it. But nope, they sealed it, and that is all off the back of Jalen Brunson.
Brunson played so well. I saw
Brunson.
Some highlights, and he was looking good.
Yeah.
Ooh, looking
In
good.
those clinch moments, he hit like a step back corner 3 on, I think it was Mobley, someone big, and I nearly jumped out my skin. You know, family around were hearing me going,
Are you okay, James?
Yes.
Do you need help?
Everything's good and everything's fine.
But Mitchell, though, I think he's still the best player in the bracket there.
Controversial.
I don't think it is. I think he's the clear top dog. But
Interesting
is he
stuff.
enough? Is he enough? Because, like...
I mean, he didn't close out game 1 away.
There you go.
Jalen Brunson.
Brunson. And your bigs are like chunky, strong bigs. Their bigs are more kind of skinny.
Well, it's funny you
long
should say
bigs.
that because we actually have a mix. I mean, Julius is just a steam train. He's big, he's strong. Mitchell Robinson is long but quite thin. But then we have Isaiah Hartenstein that's completely different. So he wants to go and get the ball at like the high post and pass. So like he comes off the bench and he changes it completely.
Interesting.
So it's quite nice. We've got depth, man. The thing that's killing it for us
We
is
play
depth.
D Rose, man. Play some D Rose.
D Rose is playing the sort of player coach role.
Oh
at this
man, I
point.
want him on the. Just give him like 5 minutes. He's a playoff performer. Get him on the court.
I think he'll show up at times, especially in the Garden, because once in a while they'll chant, "We want Rose."
Oh really?
Yeah,
Oh, nice.
especially if they know that the game's won and they can bring him in, then he'll come.
Oh really?
Yeah,
That's
it's
nice.
quite nice. Yeah.
That's nice.
So yeah, that's the news about the Knicks is all good right now. Of course, we're recording this. What? How many hours? About 3 hours before game 2 away in Cleveland.
Oh,
I expect Cleveland to come out battling because they've lost home court advantage now.
I reckon they'll take tonight.
If they don't, it'd be shocking if they do anything because it's very, very rare to come back from 2-0 down, especially if you lose home court
Yeah,
advantage.
if you're at home and you lose the first 2,
Yeah.
like it's all. Is
looked-
it a must win, James?
It's a must-win for Cleveland, I think so, yeah, because don't get me wrong, it's not that it's impossible if they don't win it, but it gets a lot harder if they don't win it. Because then they've got to go and get something in New York when we're already 2-0 up feeling confident. You know, if they lose the third game and they go 3-0 down, it's a sweep or it's a gentleman's sweep of like 4-1, isn't it? If they go, it's very unlikely that anything else is going to happen out of that. So yeah, obviously I want to see Donovan Mitchell do well. I like the Cavs, the team they've put together, but it's unfortunate they match with my Knicks. So I actually think we match up really well with them as well. So a lot of people are thinking Cavs going to take this. You heard it here first. I don't think they do.
Now, of course, Knicks are the 5th seed, beating the 4th, just like in the West, where the Clips beat the Suns.
Yes.
Thoughts on that one, James? That was a good bloody game.
I think my thoughts on this can be defined in a sound. How's KD doing?
Oh, James asked you a question. It's a would you rather question.
A would you rather?
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Would you rather what?
Oh.
Would I rather what, Paul?
I love that jingle. Would you rather have Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard?
Oh. You see now, the words that nearly came out of my mouth were that's tough, but actually not at all. I'd rather have Kawhi.
Yeah, man.
Just because it's two-way, and I think that it's odd because with KD, especially in the Warriors, you saw him do a little more in team ball, and it elevated him. But he really likes his ISO kind of mid-range go at it, and he's an unstoppable. But I like to see a player who can do a little of everything: defense, offense, passing. You know, all the stuff, and he's just so super talented at ISO scoring that to me isn't hugely interesting.
I know what you mean, and Kawhi just has this like grit to him, and just like just drags out a win.
Yeah.
Like some of the shots he's making at the end, some of his threes, you're thinking he doesn't make them normally. Because it was crunch time, he makes it.
Crunch time mode activated.
What about...
Well, hold on. Would you rather
Oh!
have KD or Kawhi on your
Well,
team?
Kawhi is probably my favourite player.
So KD then?
Yeah, KD, yeah. No, I'll go for Kawhi, but Kawhi obviously does have issues with load management in the regular season, which can hinder your team somewhat.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, he's a playoff killer. Because he won the championship that killed the Super Team Heat, 2014, and then he won the last one of the Super Team Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
He's the end of every Super Team there is.
So
it's him.
Who's the next super team to go down?
Oh, there are no Super Teams now, is there? Are there? Or like Dynasty sort of wannabes?
I suppose the Suns would kind of make out that they were, because they were there, and now they've got KD as well.
That's a great point. Maybe
they should be, but it's not looking like it right now. Speaking of killers, I'm going to talk about Russ.
Oh my God! So he shot. I'll give me stats here. 3 of 19, 1 from 6 from deep, but somehow was like the second best player on the floor.
Yeah.
That block at the end,
where he gets the block and then puts it off.
That's
Book.
it. The effort to stay in the play, because Book's then like looking at the ref complaining, like bitching, like, "Oh, foul! Stay in the game, man. The game's not over."
Yeah.
Russ keeps playing, knocks the ball back in. Oh, I love Russ's heart. He's all heart.
Me too, and I think after a pretty torrid time in LA, I know he's technically still in LA, but a torrid time at the Lakers, it's nice to see him bounce back into a team where he seems to fit. He seems happy there. I found it quite funny that what was the interview? Was it after the LA game where the other team said the plan was to let Russ shoot, and then annoyingly he scored. It's like, oh no, it's a good plan, but that didn't work.
I see it's kind of similar format to the Raptors. You got Kawhi, who the best player is often seen as a leader, but I kind of almost disagree with it because he's not vocal, and that's fine. And you got someone else like Russ, or in the Raptors it was Kyle Lowry, who's a vocal guy, the vocal leader.
Yeah.
It kind of works. Maybe in the Lakers, Russ was trying to be vocal, but so was LeBron, and it's kind of a bit of a clash. Meanwhile, Kawhi can just kind of be quiet, and Russ can be some vocal guy. Because even Paul George isn't vocal, you know?
Yeah.
He's kind of quiet. So it kind of works having like 2 stars that kind of quiet, and the other guy can be the vocal guy.
Is he starting for them?
Russ? Yeah, he's starting, yeah.
Wow.
Doesn't play like 30 minutes, he's more like
but he sets the tone and then sits.
Yeah.
Okay, well there you go. Big change for Russ. And
you've got
shout out to Russ.
You've got Eric Gordon as well, who makes some big shots.
I love Eric Gordon. He's one of those players that you feel like you could put him on any team and he'd improve them. Yeah, he can slot in.
I thought he might have been done because he's older now. I'm not sure what his age,
but he
makes
can
big
shoot.
Shots.
He can shoot. Shooter's going to shoot.
Any other surprise first wins? Because we had some lower seeds taking some top seeds. Any surprise? Lakers beat the Jizz.
I am not cutting this out.
Don't cut that out. What was it? The Grizz.
The Grizz. I thought you were talking about the Utah Jizz. The Memphis Grizzlies.
Their new name, Memphis Grizzlies.
But for the record, viewers, there's no alcohol in this strange drink we've had, so you cannot blame that.
I've been spiked.
I will cheers to you on the Memphis Grizzlies. Carry on.
And of course, what's the other one? Oh yes, the Heat took down the Bucks.
A big result. I saw that Jimmy had a big game. Yeah, surprise, and it's nice to see that people often talk every year about like the 5th and 6th seed battle because it's so tight. That'll be interesting, but then like the 1st and 8th is boring. But it feels like that's becoming less and less true.
Yeah,
which is really, really nice. So yeah, good to see. I don't have any major thoughts beyond that. Is there anything you want to pull out of that?
I think we'll come back to that series actually with the injuries.
Yes, there's some things to talk about.
So I do want to mention quickly Boston Hawks. I think get your brooms out.
The Boston Hawks versus the Memphis Grizzlies.
Boston Hawks. Get your brooms out. That's gonna be a sweep. That's such a bad matchup for Atlanta.
I mean, is there a good matchup for Atlanta? I think they're a broken team.
They've got no really great wings, or defensive wings anyway.
It's really weird though. They had wing depth used to be a big thing for them, especially as shooters. They had who's the guy who's gone to? I think he's gone to Sacramento now with red hair.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, Herter?
He's still the Hawks. Yeah, Kevin Herter, he's still there.
Really?
Yeah. He's like the only kind of good wing they've got.
Oh, who am I thinking of then? Because they had him, and they had 2 other wings.
Bogdanovich, maybe?
Bogdan Bogdanovic.
Yeah, he was.
Is he still there?
There was someone, him or the name similar to him, that was there. Yeah.
Not there anymore.
No.
Oh, that's weird.
I know, yeah. But the Boston, guard-wise, have got Marcus Smart, Defensive Player of the Year. You've got Derek White, fantastic defender, and also, what's he called? Brogdon.
Oh yeah, I like
all
Brogdon.
those three on those.
In the run-in for six man of the year, wasn't he? I don't know if he's still in the top
think he's probably
three,
going to get
but
it.
he was.
I think he's going to get it.
I don't, but we'll talk about that in a bit.
Ooh! But yeah, that's 3 amazing guards on their 2 point. They can just keep at them, you know.
Yeah, they've got more length, they've got more tenacity on defense, and that is the right combination to frustrate Trae Young.
Mm-hmm.
And if Trae Young isn't doing much, what is that team doing realistically? And to be clear, by not doing much, I include if he wasn't doing anything, but he was creating so much gravity that he opens up for everyone else. I mean, literally not even that. Like, he's just not a factor at that point. I think they struggle.
Well, as I texted you after the game, like they kept him on the bench for crunch time in the 4th.
How did he look? Was he pouty?
I did not see him.
Interesting.
But that's a big move, I think, to go with the other point guard and leave Young on the bench. Your franchise guy, your guy who wins your games with shots. Put him on the bench because defense is rubbish.
Thing is, like, if you were a coach or a GM, who would you pair Trae Young with?
I mean, a defensive guy, but maybe not a point guard defensive guy because he's also quite small. And they've got Jaylen Brown who can just put on him, and then that's it.
I think you want to. Firstly, you want someone next to him who can defend their best guard because he's not good.
Klay Thompson, alongside Curry works well.
Yeah, works very, very well. But to be honest, in my head, I was thinking a big who can shoot.
A big who can shoot.
That would be a deadly pick and pop if you had someone next to him that could set a screen and they can both shoot. Then that's dangerous.
Okay.
The minute they've got a rim runner, but Clint Capella ain't shooting, is he?
You kind of want a Brook Lopez sort of guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you look back to Steve Nash and you say you put him with Stoudemire. And that is a nasty pick and pop, pick and roll.
Oh yeah.
Pick and short pop.
That's tasty.
That is very tasty.
Oof.
So, if I was the GM, I'd be looking for something like that and a better guard defender. And maybe they'd be more versatile. But I just feel like at the minute, if you can execute well and you have the right players, you can shut them down.
Yeah.
And Boston can definitely execute well, and they have the right players.
Because they've got Tatum and Brown on the wing, they can't guard 2 wing players, and they're going to get exploited.
So you're saying sweep?
I'm saying sweep, yeah. Some people are saying gentleman sweep at 5. But I honestly, Atlanta get hot, but they can't do it for a full game. So I think it's going to be a sweep.
Boston were the high seeds, so they've played away at the minute.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think home court advantage as they go back to Atlanta will make a difference, or you think just straight up sweep?
I think a sweep, I think it's going to happen. Get your brooms out.
I think Boston will take the second game at home. I think Atlanta need to take the first game in Atlanta. Otherwise, it's a sweep.
Yeah. My last series, Kings versus Warriors.
Now this one
2-0
is tasty.
Tasty series. Did you see last night?
Only highlights.
Okay. Draymond Green. Stampy stomp, stamp, stamp.
Stampmond. Stampmond, stamp.
Oh, poor Sabonis. On the ground, get knocked over, and then Green trips and stamps on his chest, and then I tripped.
I know, standard Draymond. Although to be fair, he's changed, Draymond. He's changed. He's grown.
He's aiming higher.
Yes. Because this time around, Sabonis did not get stamped in his Sabonis.
Oh, Sabonis.
Yes, exactly. It was in the chest this time, so no kick to the crotch.
He's getting old, his aim's getting worse.
Yeah, he was aiming for the crotch. So 3-point percentage going down. Yeah. It's the eyesight. But yeah, no, this is the series that is definitely one of the most interesting. They've got the local rivalry. Obviously, you've got the Kings' torrid history. They've never quite achieved anything. Weren't they the ones who were the losers in that famous final series against the Lakers where the refs were accused of heavy bias?
Oh, I don't know about that.
Yes, I'm sure it was, because you look at the stats and it was that C-Web team, I'm sure, that the accusation from certain Kings fans was that the league wanted the Lakers to win this. And you look back at the stats and go, wow, they got a lot of free throws and the Kings got nothing. So there's a big history.
That sounds like a conspiracy.
A conspiracy? Yeah, unexpected appearance of our conspiracy jingle there. I wasn't ready for that. Which is a little bit of a historical conspiracy. But when you look at the history of the Kings, they've had some great teams that haven't done much, and they've had a lot of letdowns. So for them to have done as well they had this season, and seemingly to continue it in the playoffs against a powerhouse Golden State team.
Yeah, we've done well. I mean, this is the first playoffs for 17 years, and they won it. I got a stat which I sent a picture to you today.
I love that our stats mostly come from memes.
Oh yeah,
that's the level we're at on the Get Buckets podcast. It's last did meme of the week.
Their coach Mike Brown is already the second all-time winningest coach.
How? How?
He has got 2-0. Oh god, I'm gonna read that there. Rick, how do you say that?
Edelman?
Edelman is 34 and 35. Very nice.
Right.
And then Mike Brown 2-0. Gary St. Jean 1 and 3, and Phil Johnson 0 and 3.
Interesting. So
that's it.
So on percentage, I was very confused when you said he was the winningest. So I was like, they've won more than that, but I see because you take into the losses.
Okay, well he's the second. He's won the second.
Well, I mean the other one's 134, but I take your point. Percentage wise,
he's number 2. He's the second.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood you. Oh wow, just on wins he's the second.
Yeah.
Wow. On percentage, he's the first.
Yeah.
He's got a 100% win record.
Let's go, Mike Brown, Coach of the Year. Yeah. Actually, he might be Coach of the Year.
He could be, because no one saw this coming. And do you know what? I really like De'Aaron Fox as a player. So it's nice to see him achieving.
Because last year he kind of took a step back. Because he had that other point guard who they traded to Pacers.
Yeah, when they drafted Tyrese Halliburton, everyone was saying like De'Aaron Fox is available. They're clearly done with him. They're going to let him go. And I was listening with my big ears because I was like,
we'll take him.
I was like, yeah, we'll take him. You know, we will happily take him. He's lightning fast. You know, and a great point guard. And actually, no, they traded Halliburton away and said, no, we'll double down on him. And look, it's absolutely working for him. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I hope to see Golden State at least take the next game just to make it interesting. I assume Draymond's out of the next game.
I don't know. He's got ejected. I don't know where he's on his injections because you get 16, is it? And then the 17th one, you get suspended a game. So I'm not sure where he's at.
I don't know. It's him. It's hard to know.
It'll
be all over the media in between now and the next game, though. What will and won't happen to him. So we'll keep an eye on that as it develops.
Let's go back to that Heat Bucks game because Giannis went down.
Yes.
Went down hard.
I've heard this. Yeah. Do we have any news?
Just a low back injury. Not seen anything online about him coming back, but it's not like he's broken anything. He's just hurt his low back. So
without Giannis, can they make it past the Heat?
You know what? I would normally think no, but then I remembered the year before last year, when he hurt his knee in the conference finals, and without him they still won and got to the finals. So I think they can get there, but it's got Derrick Rose vibes of 2011 when he went down and then they were the top seed and got knocked out from by the 8th.
But I mean, he went down and that was a very serious injury.
It was. That's true. He might be back. Yeah.
Do we know if it's a very serious injury in that sense?
I don't know.
It's difficult, isn't it? Because when you have such a unique player, and actually this is true for young MVP Derrick Rose as well, is you quite rightly build your team around him. And you say, he does this, what complements that? But then when you take that central piece away and you've got all these pieces that only complemented it, you go, do they still work without that? Because that is a perfectly constructed team around Giannis. It's perfect.
That's why I think during the game they struggle because you have to adjust.
Yeah.
But before a game, you know it. You can change your game plan. So I think I'll probably take game 2. But it's going to be a closer series than people maybe would have thought going into
especially if Giannis is out.
That's it. I think he'll be back. I think it'll be too bad. But you might miss a game or two. And I tell you what, if they're going to win the next 2 games, he might sit a 3rd game because they don't need to play him. It might be one of those situations.
Well, the Heat, as much as I dislike them, and I dislike a lot of their fans, come at me Twitter, the one thing you can count on them is quite consistently competing.
Oh, yeah.
They don't give up on anything. Their culture is very gritty.
Great coach as well.
Great coach. So they'll be prepared.
Oh, yeah.
And if Giannis isn't there, they will prepare a game plan, and you can expect them to execute it.
Another big injury is Ja Morant.
I am so glad You brought this up, Paul.
Oh, really?
Because I've been waiting for the next podcast episode to discuss this. Can we take a moment to discuss how he clearly injured himself shooting too many triggers? And it had nothing to do with basketball at all.
Ooh.
Are you thinking shots fired?
I'm thinking shots fired.
Thinking he injured himself with this.
Ooh, shots fired! Shots fired! Yeah, he's hurt his hand, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He's hurt his hand apparently quite badly. He couldn't, don't know what the right word is, but unspool a pair of socks. His hand hurt that much. I'd get someone else to like pull socks apart so he could.
Can we take a moment to admire Paul's vocabulary with unspool?
Yeah, is that the right word?
Is that even a word?
It sounds like it could be. I say a lot of words which I don't know are words or not.
Do you know what? All words weren't words till they became
Exactly.
words.
I'll just talk into existence.
We're making it real now. Unspool yourself.
Unspool yourself, fool. So he's doubtful for game 2.
Again, what are the Grizzlies without them? What are the Grizzlies without them?
We got, is it Tyus Jones, backup point guard? He's a very solid point guard. But then you got no backup behind him who's solid, so does affect it. And Tyler Hero.
Tyler Hero
broke his hand.
A player that historically I just dislike.
Why?
I'm not sure.
His face?
A portion of it's his face.
Do you just like hate all Heat players?
Yes.
Okay.
Generally,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
But there's something about his face.
Interesting.
Does that? Is it a meme where he does this kind of thing? He does like his
Oh,
impression of like Elvis with
God.
the mouth, and I'm like, you look like you've ate a lemon and it wasn't tasty.
It does seem like he's quite an arrogant player and he hasn't like
Yeah.
earned the right to be.
I think that's it.
Maybe that's
I
it.
think it's the combination of the arrogance, the lack of deserving of the arrogance, the way the fans talk about him like he's the next face of the league and he's really not, and then that face.
Yeah, he was sensational in the bubble playoffs,
Yeah.
and since then
Had a
has
great
been
run.
like fine.
Had a great run, but I think came out as a surprise that he could shoot so well, and I think people are going, okay, well he could shoot good.
Just adjust.
Let's adjust to that and see what he does. Still a solid NBA player with skill and does some great things, but just not what I think he's implied and outwardly stated to be sometimes. But yeah, he's out. I'm never happy about the injury to a player because I like to see a team at full strength. So very sad. Get well soon, Tyler Hero. Be less egotistical.
James, I have another would you rather.
Oh no.
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Would you rather what?
Oh. James,
Yes.
would you rather be the Bucks without Giannis,
Oh.
or would you rather be the Grizzlies without Ja Morant?
Oh.
Yeah, go on.
Sorry, you caught me off guard. I think I'd rather be the Bucks.
Okay.
I just think that even without Giannis, that has got some really special players on it that I think they can adjust. And I just don't like the Grizzlies. There's too many players in there that are just dicks.
But do you think which team is worse without that star? Which team's going to struggle the most without having that main star on their team?
I think the Grizzlies will struggle more.
Interesting.
I really do. I think that certain players, I won't name names now, maybe I'll name them in 2 seconds, who knows, in the Grizzlies will have a bit of a rude awakening about the level of their ego versus their ability without him in the team. Because there's certain ones with very big mouths who you go, well, you're all right, but you're not a superstar.
You're only so good because you're superstars in your team.
Yeah. And the thing is that aside from the cultural issues I have with Morant and the gun culture and stuff, which hopefully he has apologised for, and he said he's going to look for help and he's going to do some more positive things, and I love that. Set that example that people can change. It's good for kids. Aside from that, and aside from some of the carry stuff that winds me up with Ja,
Of course, yeah.
I think he's fantastic. Lightning fast. Very exciting to watch. He is a superstar.
Oh, yeah.
Without him, the Grizzlies have got some good pieces.
That's a good point.
But a team that's just got some good pieces isn't winning a title.
I think they're... excuse me. The struggles the Lakers are actually looking pretty good right now.
Yep.
So then, I think if it wasn't against the Lakers, Grizzlies without them, without Ja, might be okay. But I think they need to be like as strong as possible right now.
You've actually reminded me of a tangent to go on there in our last episode. Last one or the one before? We discussed the playoffs, the play-in chaos, scenarios we thought might happen, and I said that if the Lakers made it into the play-in, they'd be brittle and they would fall apart.
You did.
I did. So I don't have a jingle for Once Again James Was Wrong. So I will improvise one for you now.
Please.
Once again, James was wrong. There you go. That's for you. I was wrong. They pulled it out.
I bet you didn't think Schroeter would have such an immense game.
No.
He had a big old game.
Give me some stats.
I can't remember the stats.
But
I would have said.
Whatever the stats are, they're big. Big stats.
It was
all the stats.
Big old stats.
Big old stats. Okay, that is true.
Off the bench, because what's he called? Their main point guard now. Can't remember his bloody name.
D'Angelo Russell.
Yeah, he had a stinker. He got 2 points, I think.
Yeah, he can be very streaky, but he can also be a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
He's not very quick, but in a good pick and roll offense, he can be very good. I remember watching him in Brooklyn before they traded everything to pull in the superstar duo, then trio. Even though that team wasn't fantastic, he really pulled them to a good record. And I used to worry about playing the Nets because he caused trouble. So he's a talented player. It's nice to see him back in LA after a very complicated situation, but he's back there. They're doing well. Anthony Davis seems to be playing well.
Yeah, staying on the court.
Another tangent. Have you heard the hilarious story about Rui Hachimura?
I have, but please tell the listeners.
For the viewers who don't know, Rui Hachimura got traded to the LA Lakers. He's now a teammate of Anthony Davis. And it turns out that he still has on his phone, and I believe has shown to Anthony Davis, a picture of him and his former team dunking on Anthony Davis.
I think it's a video he's got on his...
He's got the video.
Yeah,
brilliant. Brilliant. So, yeah. So there you go. NBA players still having fun.
That's some team bants right there, isn't it?
That's some good banter. I like it.
James, would you rather be called the Grizzlies or the Jizzlies?
It's a difficult question.
What would the logo be for the Jizzlies? No, let's change topic. Move on.
Well, I'm going to go on a very strange tangent now.
Stranger than that?
It's weirdly related to that. So I went to Belgium a few years ago. Have you ever been to Belgium, Paul?
Lovely chocolate, lovely beer.
So you've been to
Belgium?
Lovely
people. I have been to Belgium, yeah.
Do you remember what the logo for their chip shops is?
Oh, I don't.
Weirdly...
Is it John Morant?
It's just John Morant with a gun and some chips in one hand.
You want some chips?
You want some chips? Take the chips. No. Oddly, that would be probably as weird. Okay. No, one of the recognisable logos, and I don't know if this is a chain or just a well-known one, is essentially a little like cartoon character with like a cartoon face. I can't remember if he is a chip or if he's just a character peeing on a bag of chips.
What?
You've heard me.
You've got a cartoon chip
peeing
on his, I suppose, family and friends. I mean, the disrespect.
And smiling about it.
Is he peeing vinegar or something?
I have no idea. Well, the thing is, one of their big, I don't know if it's their national dish or they're famous for it, it's basically get like a cone of chips and you can just choose your sauces.
Okay, yeah.
And like that's a snack that everyone has. So
Mayonnaise
there's queues out the
right?
door for this, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But if you relate that to your question about what the logo for the Jizzlies would be, so I assume a grizzly bear jizzing on a cone of smaller grizzly bears?
Oh my goodness. That's an image right
there,
people.
This is a family show, Paul.
Feel free to skip this bit if you got kids.
Oh Lord.
Shall we
move on? Yes, please.
Do you have anything you want to speak to me about, James?
Yes. I would like to talk to you about the Dallas Mavericks.
Oh no.
Because, Paul...
Who are they?
It's a great question. Do you know what they're guilty of?
Conspiracy.
A few days ago, Paul, I would have said this is a conspiracy.
Okay.
Now, it is undeniable fact. They were left in a situation where if they were on the run they were on, they were going to miss out on the play-in, miss out on the playoffs, and miss out on their draft pick. Because their draft pick was owned by the New York Knicks. Did you see the tank job they did in their game? They announced, I can't remember who they were playing against now off the top of my head, but they announced...
Chicago Bulls.
Was it the Bulls? There you go.
Yeah.
That all their starters, apart from Luka, would not play at all.
And Luka played 12 minutes?
Luka played the first quarter. They are being fined heavily for it. I'm like, give me the draft pick. Forget the fine. Give me the draft pick.
So it's been confirmed, hasn't it? He did it on purpose. It's not his first time. I think in what year was Trae Young and Luka drafted? 2017? Around then.
Yeah, around then.
He got fined $600,000 for doing basically the same sort of thing, tanking to get a pick. So Mark Cuban.
But there's tanking to get your pick higher up, and there's tanking to keep your pick from a deal from like years ago or whatever. It's an interesting one. And it smacks of desperation.
Oh, isn't it just, man? I mean...
I'm not going to talk in depth with you about the Kyrie thing, because I think that's a whole big thing for us to discuss possibly next episode. But let's just talk about some of the key moves since Luka was drafted. So you get Luka. Who you got with him?
Old man Dirk, last year.
Old man Dirk, yeah. Which
Good
is
time
nice.
to pass the torch.
Yeah, pass the torch, let's move on. And then he's gone. And you've got Luka. Who you got with him?
I don't remember, but I know we traded for...
Nothing major.
Traded for KP.
Well, I can help you out. You had Dennis Smith Jr.
Oh, of course we did. We drafted him, didn't we? I had 2 point guards and we didn't stand.
And he was, doing okay,
Athletic.
but whinging a bit about not being featured kind of thing.
Yeah.
Then you traded for Kristaps Porzingis, Tim Hardaway Jr., Courtney Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Was anyone else in that deal?
Probably. I can't remember.
I think that's the three.
Okay.
Maybe some throw. Oh, Trey Burke. Is he still there? I like Trey Burke.
He's still there.
He's a good player.
Yeah.
I like Trey Burke. He's not going to be a starter or anything, but I like him. So, you picked up those three. You're now stuck with Timmy chucking it.
He's actually been a spark off the bench.
He can get
as a starter, no thanks,
really
but
hot.
He's a bench player, man.
And then he can get really cold but still chuck it. And we all know players like that.
I think Burke might have gone,
Oh,
I
that's
got
very
confused
sad.
with Reggie Bullock. I got a bit.
Oh, no, Reggie,
I
you
got
signed
confused.
after we didn't renew his contract one
There
year.
we go.
Hilariously, we didn't re-sign Reggie Bullock. We brought Evan Fournier into his spot, and then he played for a year and then signed the bench. But yeah, so then you get KP.
Yeah.
You wait for him to come back from injury. You then don't really build an offense that works for both of them. Imagine the pick and pop that could have been there, but you've essentially got KP stood in the corner, waiting to catch and shoot. He gets frustrated. He comes out in the media and says, "I'm not being featured enough. I don't feel like a co-star. I feel like a role player."
Yeah.
And eventually he gets moved on. If you look at that trade, this is what happened. The Knicks offloaded KP, Courtney Lee, I like Courtney Lee, legend, and Tim Hardaway Jr. The Knicks freed up the cap space to pick up Julius Randle, who's ended up an absolute monster. Let's move forward a little bit. Jalen Brunson becomes a big deal for the Mavs.
Oh, yeah.
When Luka is out in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Mavs repeatedly refuse to offer him an extension to his contract, to the point that he becomes an unrestricted free agent. And for any of you listeners who do not know, a year before free agency, at the end of that kind of player's contract, you can give them a qualifying offer, which is just a small contractual thing. I believe it has some money involved as well. That basically means that when they get to free agency, they become a restricted free agent. Mm-hmm. So anyone who offers them a deal, they can go out on the free market. But if someone offers them a deal, the club that have them can match that deal and keep him, no matter what. They chose not to do that, which meant he was unrestricted free agent.
Do what he wants.
And not only that, he had strong ties with the people running the Knicks. The Knicks hired his dad as a coach.
All signs point to Nick.
Point to New York. And he grew up with his dad playing for the Knicks. So then he goes to the Knicks. So you lose Jalen. You're then left with Luka and some shooters and sort of...
Spencer.
Spencer Dinwiddie, which would have been good for him off the bench to get some of the scoring load and the ball handling load away from him. And you had, is it Dorian Finney-Smith? He was a good defensive...
great 3D guy.
Was he a wing? Yeah.
Christian Wood? Is it Christian or
Christian Wood. You went out your way to get Christian Wood in free agency to not play him.
Oh, God.
Which is interesting in itself.
Yeah.
So you're then left with, oh God, what do I do? This roster isn't built well. Answer? Trade for Kyrie Irving.
Oh, I'm going to pause you right there because we were top 5 team in the West as that set up. I think that team was it was solid. And that team went to the conference finals the year before, obviously with Brunson.
Yeah.
But that's just like, obviously he's a great player, but it's not that far. It would have been, maybe a second round exit with that setup, which is decent. But instead, we've gone like, let's just throw his Team T in here and see what happens.
Well, the thing is that Irving, aside from some of his strange choices and things, if you can get him to like be into it, he's fantastic. But I think Brunson's better next to Luka than Irving is. And you had Brunson plus all those other pieces. You've now thrown all those pieces away to bring in Kyrie Irving for 3 months.
Yeah, because he can sign any way he wants. Problem we got is Luka, Kyrie, and Christian Wood all can't play defense. You know, you've got your 3 kind of bigger names. You feel like you're not playing Wood very much, but no, you can't play them together because you can't play defense.
Yeah, which leaves Reggie Bullock trying to guard everyone.
Oh, God.
Shout out to Reggie. He will try. He will try and guard everyone. Respect to Reggie.
It's not looking great. Huge mistake letting Brunson go.
Yep. And a bit of a reaction, this trade for Irving.
Tactical disaster. You could have kept him and then traded Spencer Dinwiddie for a better big or something, you know. But he had those two stars, those 2 pillars. Because Kyrie's not going to... He might resign.
Well, you know, it's interesting because you'd assume he wouldn't, except word around the league, and I get this from various NBA
no one wants him?
insiders. No one wants to give him the max.
I'm not surprised.
And he's looking for multiple year max deal. And that was one of the big deals at Brooklyn, is that they weren't willing to offer him that. You don't think desperate Dallas might offer it to him?
Probably.
Because I think he'd take it.
Probably.
I think he'd take it.
And unless they do well the next year or 2, his trade value would be rubbish. And then Luka would be like even more pissed off. So.
Prediction, Paul. The end of next season.
Yeah.
Is Luka Doncic a Maverick?
Oh, don't even start with that, okay? Don't even! Conspiracy.
Or does he have his eyes elsewhere, Paul?
He's 24, so he's still really young.
Really young, yeah.
He can have 2 more years of like, Kyrie, and this is a mess. But it's like, how do you rebuild without doing a full rebuild? You know, and Kyrie's value is going to be so low, you can't get much back for him. They're going to be like forever sort of in his middle. It's like a Bradley Beal, but maybe slightly better situation.
Well,
or like Damian Lillard, you know.
Hoping for a good draft pick this year, aren't they? There are, I'm told, some really big deals in the draft year. There's Wembanyama, who's supposed to be 7'3" French player who plays like a guard. Like he looks ridiculous, but he's going to go to whoever gets the number 1 pick.
Yeah, which might be Mavericks.
I mean, if the Mavs get the number 1 pick, then I'm calling this. Conspiracy. Yeah,
They're not getting that though. If
they get that, the Knicks be kicking off.
If they get it, I think the conspiracy would be they won't get it because they got fined for tanking.
I mean, there's absolutely no chance to get it. The chances of going for it, I think theirs is like is it the 11th pick? I think they have high chance of the 11th pick because I think if they got 10th or above, the Knicks got their pick. So they tanked to get out of the 10. So I know there's some big deals higher up. I don't know what the second band of like picks look like, but I'm told it's a strong draft.
This whole situation reminds me of Dame and the Trailblazers. They made the conference finals one year with Aldridge, and he left for Spurs. Mavs made conference finals with Brunson. He's left, and then they're going to be sort of like not a great team, but kind of okay. Probably now until Luka gets pissed off and leaves, like Dame's going to do. Probably.
So you're saying he's gone by the end of next season, Paul?
No, not that soon. Not that soon. A few more years, but they can't get much better at the moment. They've screwed it, James.
Hey, Paul, I have a question for you.
Go on.
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Would you rather?
Would you rather what?
Oh.
Paul.
Yes, James.
Would you rather be a Bulls fan or a Mavs fan?
Oh my goodness. I'm both on Mavs got the better, younger player.
One, not plural. One player.
But like the Bulls have got aging stars and a good star, but not as good as Luka. Both of them don't have.
Are either of them in a position where they can do something in the next 3 years?
No, I almost wish Bulls were like where the Pistons were or something, and then because it's a proper rebuild and then go up again.
Yeah.
They kind of stayed in that 12th to 6th seed.
Although I feel like
range.
The Pistons are something we need to discuss in depth at some point because they have been drafting high picks for years at this point.
Fairness, so did 76ers, and eventually struck gold.
Well, they
took a while.
Well, they got Simmons and
but they also
back
had
to back, didn't they?
They had another few other bigs in between there.
Interesting. Then they got
names.
Markelle Fultz.
He was number 1 pick.
Mm-hmm.
There was another big as well. They got a few bigs actually. Noel.
Nerlens Noel.
He was a top pick.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Took a few years, but they got there. Trust the process. Remember that old saying?
Yeah.
There you go.
The process is trusted. Do you have any more news for us, Paul?
Oh, I want to do quick fire. James, quick fire.
Quick fire what?
After just 1 or 2 games,
Yeah.
I'm going to go through each series and say who's going to win. Quick fire.
You
time.
are or I am.
We're going to do it together, but like quick fire. So,
Okay.
Bucks, Heat. I say Bucks.
Yeah, Bucks.
Cavs, New York. I'm saying the Cavs.
It's the Knicks. The Knicks match up good with them.
I'm loosely saying the Cavs. It's a coin toss.
I actually think the Cavs will beat a lot of the other people in the first round easier than they'll beat the Knicks. I think we match up real good with them.
Celtics or Hawks?
Celtics.
Easy one. Sweep. Sorry, I missed out. 76ers and the Nets, which I missed out because also probably a sweep.
Yeah, Sixers, but respect to Mikal Bridges, who's
yeah.
who's coming in Brooklyn, is working hard.
They might take a game, but 76ers got it. Denver, Timberwolves.
Denver.
I'm thinking that might be a sweep as well. Potentially 5.
I mean, if they get swept this year, is it time to blow up what they've built there? Is it time to maybe move Cat as one of the elder pieces? I know he's still young, but
You've got Ant though. Ant's young, isn't he?
That's the thing, though. You could move Cat and try and build around Ant.
Trade your big guys away, get some picks and build. Yeah, maybe. Suns and Clippers. I'm saying Clippers.
Am I answering with my head or with my heart?
With whatever you want to answer with.
My head says Phoenix
Yeah.
because, you know, but my heart says Clips.
Now, I really want the Clips to do well because Paul George might be back in the next round.
Yeah.
And with that team with Paul George is a great bloody team.
Plus, I would just like to see KD jumping from contender to contender not work out for him at some point.
2 left, Kings or Warriors? Before the series, I thought maybe Warriors. Now I'm thinking, I think the Kings, maybe 6 or 7, but I think Kings have got it.
Well, the Kings are going for Game 3 in Golden State next.
Tough game.
That's huge. But you know what? Introduce a little chaos. Kings?
Kings.
Screw
Nice.
it. Sweep. Maybe a gentleman's sweep.
Oh, could be. And then last one, you got the Memphis Grizzlies and the LA
Lakers.
Yeah, Lakers.
I got the Lakers in this one.
Interesting. The 7th seed.
Yeah. The Grizzlies are not nearly as strong without Morant. He is hurt, and I think mentally has been through quite a lot. And I think this will affect a young player.
I also think the Grizzlies. The Lakers. I also think the Lakers because they are not the team they were at the start of the season. So that 7th seed isn't quite right. They're probably more like a 5th.
Yeah,
seed.
I agree. They look a lot better
maybe
now.
4th. But
Yeah.
There you go. Then that's our predictions. That's what's going to happen.
We will review it.
Yeah.
And I will be watching the Knicks game later tonight. So
Watching them lose.
It's a big statement. We won
Nah,
game 1 away.
I think that's the hardest one. I think to decide.
It is. I think loads of people, like non-biased fans who don't follow the Cavs or the Knicks, are all looking at that one going, "That's going to be a good one to watch." And I agree.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
So if you're not sure which series to watch, Knicks Cavs is looking like a good one.
That's it, James.
That's the end of our news.
Podcast 15 in the bag.
Oh wow, you knew the number. Well done.
Did you?
I absolutely have no idea. Well, thank you to our viewer listeners, and thank you to you, Paul, as per usual.
James.
And thank you to Purdy's Natural Energy. Rejuvenate grape and apple with ginseng. That was a good segue, wasn't it? Now, we're not actually sponsored by them, but if we were, that's the kind of segue I would do for you. So if you want to sponsor our podcast, give us a shout, reach out on Instagram. But until next time, Paul, what should the viewer listeners do?
Let's get some playoff buckets.
Quack, quack.